Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
And do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
MJ is the voice behind the World of Conscious Positive Thinking podcast, where she explores how mindset and energy shape everyday life. Her show opens a gateway to spiritual tools, timeless teachings, and a conscious community.
Welcome to the light. Good morning, Military Broadcast Radio. All you viewers out there, it is October the 6th. I know some of you archery people out there, if it's brown, it's down, I know. And today we are in the spirit of sport. No matter what that sport is, we're going to take you to church. That's right. Take you to church. What's that song? Everybody knows that song, right? So today we are talking spirit in sports. Who would have thunk that every time you go to a soccer, a tennis, a football, basketball, baseball, I'm taking you to church. People are like, MJ, I'm not kidding. If you were a product of, what was it, the 70s? Hold on. Let me just show you what I'm talking about here. And then we're going to get into it. Let me just bring up a screen here. Let me just take myself off. Hold on. Here we go. We're going to play this beaut for you.
So when you're happy, or sad, or frightened, or mad, or excited, wow, or glad, hey, an interjection starts a sentence right.
Come on, baby. Here we go. Who knows this?
The game was tied at 7-on. When Franklin found he had the ball home, he made a connection in the other direction, and the crowd started shouting out interjections.
Ah, you threw the wrong way. Darn, you just lost the game.
Hooray, I'm for the other team.
Interjections.
Oh,
Excitement.
darn.
Emotion.
Hooray.
Generally set apart from a sentence by an exclamation point or by a comma when the feeling's not as strong.
Okay. Who remembers Schoolhouse Rock Saturday mornings? It rocked our soul. If you were born in that time, we couldn't wait to get an education. Good morning, Miss Jackie. I don't know if you remember that or not. Well, anyway, so people, when I hope Tony Hallsworth of Mind of a Hoosier does not come on here today. I've been dodging that man because, of course, you know, he's a big Tiger fan and Hoosier fans, and I'm here, this little Penn State We Are fan who completely demolished the psyche of its fans. Woo! We're going to get into that. We're going to get in. Why does our heart beat so fast? Why does our anger levels reach the epitome that we say, fire the coach? Well, come on now. Here we go. Why is spirit of sports? It is a deeper essence that goes beyond winning or losing. It is the energy, it's the attitude, it is the integrity that makes athletic competition so meaningful and so into our heart space that every sport that we watch, I know, get ready for this one, wow factor. Every sport has a different chakra that you're healing. What? I was like, okay, I was so devastated. And I'm like, where's this anger? Where is this anger coming from, Penn State? Hockey's my other. I'm a New Jersey hockey fan, so I started watching all their preliminaries and all their before season games because Penn State got my heart a little down. So I had to go back to my hockey roots and get into there, and then I started getting myself down. I'm like, what is happening? So then I had to stop, back up, going, now why are my sport that I love so much affecting me? And now here we have it. The spirit of sports. It is the truest form. The spirit of sports includes respect, passion and dedication, fair play and integrity, and the unity of sportsmanship. Then we have the spirit of growth on top of it. 5 things. So, and you're like, MJ, really? I go, yeah. So you have respect. Respect has its own frequency value in our body. So for teammates, their opponents, referees, the game itself, every athlete honors and shares their experience that makes competition possible today. Think about how much practice or how much experience all of them had to have just to bring you that entertainment, right? And then we go to passion and dedication, right? That is that drive. That's that hardcore will inside, that drive to give your best of the best, to train, to persevere, to grow through discipline and love for the sport. So let's just say in high school or maybe in midget leagues or minor leagues or intramural leagues, when you were growing up, you had the spirit of the sport in your soul for your school. How many on school teams, whether it was track and field, tennis, wrestling, cross country, baseball, basketball, soccer, football, whichever intramural sport that you played, the school, you had the cheerleaders, you had your band, you had your teachers, you had your coaches, you had your peers. They were all rooting you on for the same highest good. Okay. Now we get to the fair play and the integrity. So when we go to the fair play and integrity, oh boy, what does Jackie say? Hold on. Oh, good morning, Mr. Joel. He's listening. Look out. Joel's on. He's listening. And now we have Jackie. Spirit of sports, beautiful. My deepest love for sports, especially baseball and football, has become the memories of watching sports with my dad. It is the biggest bonding memory. Yes, and we're going to get into all of that. Because welcome to MJ's Monday night church. Here we are with sports. And it's because I had to heal myself. Myself was just a little too radical. So now we go to the fair play and integrity. So playing an honest, accepting outcomes, graceful, and recognizing that how you compete matters just as much as the results at the end of the game. If you honestly gave 100%, and you did your homework and watched your plays and you studied your competitors, that is fair play and integrity. Okay. Yes, there were some sneaky plays that just came up. New age evolution. Look at that evolvement of the brain to push these, you could call them sneaky unfair because you're not used to that. It's okay. But it's not unfair. because they decide to, throw a little razzle dazzle in the plate. As the fan, you were like, what is that? What? That's not legal. Oh yeah, it is. Oh no, you can only do that in the second half. That was one of the fans. And I was like, who says? That's not the playbook. That's not the rules. So yeah, so this new movement of younger coaches, look out, you old timers, because you might see some razzle dazzle in your footsteps. And then what? Unity of the game, unity of the sports. It is the unity and the sportsmanships that bring it in. When you want to call interjection, you want to call not fair, you want to call all these things like we did in our little Schoolhouse Rock interjection little coming in. Now we see unity and sportsmanship. Are we missing those? How many times does somebody get overexcited and slams the ball because their endorphins and their adrenaline, and now you have a technical, and that's unsportsmanlike. Okay, now that's kind of new, the unsportsman with the last 5 or 8 years. I mean, unsportsmanlike would have been beating somebody up or punching them, but to be happy and spike the ball, why is that unsportsmanlike? Where's the endorphins going to go? Jumping, rolling in the ground, and then you're going to call unsportsmanlike again? So there's some things that we have to, in our soul, this is me going, but he's happy. Why are you penalizing somebody being happy? That's unsportsmanlike? I don't think so. So here we are. The unity of sportsmanship. Sports bring people together across cultures, ages, and belief systems, creating moments of shared joy, empathy, connection, and sometimes, yes, sadness, depression, anxiousness, all of these feelings. If you are any part of a football player, especially those of you who like fantasy football and put your money on it, the heart. There's so many people who then get heart issues. Why? The stress of the free will. And then it keeps going. So where is the spirit of the growth of the games, right? So now we go to the spirit of the growth. Every game, every race or match teaches us humility, courage, teamwork, resilience. It's a spiritual lesson that translates way beyond the fields or the courts, way beyond. It is deep. It is so deep that the physical mind of the ego and judgment can't even foresee how deep on the unconscious it is. And it's really relevating because I get so, like, I sit and I watch everybody. How are we doing? And you can see and you can see the what? And it is an awareness. It is an awareness that when it's kind of like a Joel Osteen and you're getting in the spirit, or the Charlie Kirk, everybody in the world felt it. It is that. So when you have those 100,000s in the stand of fans, the same emotion going on, it's neither right or wrong. It is how you feel. And it is that tribe instinct, that dirty instinct that's so deep in our soul. In a spiritual sense, it is like the spirit of sports that can be seen like as a dance between body, mind, and soul. Think about it. Think about that dance between them. And then where competition then becomes like this mirror for self-mastery, balance, and harmony. It truly is. And you're like, oh, you just ruined sports for me, MJ. No, I just enlightened it. I just enhanced it so that you're not part of that negative emotion. And we're going to get there, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I'm actually helping you understand why you like it. So if there's something you don't necessarily like that I'm saying, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to get there. We're going to get there in full force. And when we do, it's going to be like an eye opener. Why? Because the spirit of sports transfers its fans, right? It's fan base that come to watch the games or turn on the TV to watch them through energetic resonance. Now, we talked about the Schumann resonance in past episodes. Now, this is similar to Schumann resonance. This is called the energetic resonance, and it shares emotional, mental, and even the spiritual vibration that connects our players and our spectators together. I'm going to say it again. energetic resonance. It is the shared emotion, emotional, mental, and eventual spiritual vibration that connects its players and its spectators. It's not just about watching a game. It is about feeling it. It's about hardcore feeling the game. So when you have people go, oh, I don't like football. Do we have to watch football? And like you have a tailgate party? A tailgate party, and they're coming like, is that what we're going to do is watch football? A little depressing to have that one person in a mix of, well, we're all here to watch this, right? And you have that one person who disrespects everybody else because they don't like it, but they think that they have to attend, right? Because, you know, that's what everybody else is doing, so they have to go. And that is the mentality that brings the spirit of the game, if you're doing a tailgate party at your house, down. Why? Because they'll be on their phone, and of course they'll be playing something that's annoying, and people will be looking, and they still don't get it. They still don't, and you're looking, and they still don't get it, and you're finally like, because you don't want to say anything. So if you're one of them, don't go. Don't go. Because what you just did for that sports fan is you created a block for them to learn. It's like going to church and people don't want to go in the baby room with their baby, and the baby just interrupts, but the mother still, and the people who understand as a mother with the baby, we're like, sweetheart, I understand you want the service as well as we do, but nobody's going to get it done. Why don't you walk over to the child room, and the baby can cry with all the other babies, and you can still listen, and then the congregation can hear, right? And you know you want to say something like that, but sometimes you just don't. And sometimes it's okay. Oh, there's Tony. Oh, I've been avoiding you, buddy. That's why I went to hockey. Woo! Look out. He might write something else. Good morning, my friend. I know. Penn State, we are. I know. Let's go, Tigers. It's all good. It's all good. So we're going to have to take a real quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to get into why the vibration, why does it happen? And then we're going to flip it so that everybody knows how it's happening. So in spirit of the sport, I want to play some things today. So since you're listening to mbradio.us, I need you to know that there are some beautiful things coming in. Besides being sponsored by Jersey Mike's and Dunkin' Donuts, we have a new sponsor, which is Sony. Yes, you heard me right. Sony has picked us up, and we're also doing Reese Across America. And we have baskets going on. So I'm going to play you some things. We have a cruise coming up here in November. There's still time to get on board. And then we still have time for the Reese. So I'm going to play a whole bunch of little segments here, and then we'll come back and we're going to dig into the vibrational connection and the identification reflection of sports that it has to do with our soul and help healing us. So stay tuned. You're watching MJ with the World of Conscious Positive Thinking, where we flip everything into perspective so we can have a positive consciousness and the way we think in the world. Be right back.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandal's 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts, or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
At Military Broadcast Radio, the goal is to offer a platform for mental health advocacy while connecting the military community through various media platforms. Founded by U.S. Army veteran Joel Hunt, MBR gives a voice to veterans, first responders, and their families through streaming radio, podcasts, video, and outreach events. With its leadership run completely by veterans and hosts of the diverse programming from all branches of service, MBR was created as a response to the silent battles veterans face after service. Military Broadcast Radio is also a Wreaths Across America partner, hosting a $5 back sponsorship group page. For every veterans wreath sponsored through the Military Broadcast Radio page, MBR receives $5 back to help support their platforms and outreach. Veteran and first responder stories need to be told and shared. And with your support, MBR can continue to bring together veteran nonprofits, mental health organizations, and government agencies to bridge the gap between veterans and vital resources. To find out more and donate, visit wreathsacrossamerica.org/MBR.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I hope you're giving my duck his little loves. Give my duck his loves, that little beaker squeaker. I love to just squish him and squeeze him, especially with those dreads. You know what I'm saying. Okay, back to the spirit in sports. So we were talking about energetic resonance. And yes, I see all my beautiful Tony. Thanks, Tony. I'll be back. I was taking a little vacay with, had a lot of family and we had a beautiful wedding. And so I got to collaboratively be with the clan for our Penn State games. Thank God there was a lot of adult beveraging and adult things that we can partake to Okay, back to this energetic resonance. So now we're going to do what is energetic resonance and how does that work? The first one is vibrational connection. So athletes play with this huge, intense energy. If some of the team is not at that energetic point, you're like, come on, get into the game, get into the spirit, get into the energy, push the energy into that. As fans, right, we got to keep the passion, the focus, and the heart for them because they need passion, heart, and focus. So fans that are tuning in, whether in the stadium or at home, we have to sync energetically with the vibration. That means we have to be excited. We have to have the suspense. We have to have the victory and even the heartbreak that can create a collective, emotional field that everybody taps into. So spiritually, this is a form of group energy exchange. Believe it or not, we are exchanging our energies for the betterment of the player to raise our. Now, who does that sound like as a group? Military? Raising our veterans, leave no man behind, raising that energy flow. Starting to sound like that, especially on this NBR channel. We are raising in a collectiveness, right? Now, what happens with that collectiveness when you have people going, oh, I don't know about this game, I don't know how to read the game, and you don't know how the coach, you fire the coach. Everyone's fire the coach. Well, what are you doing prior to the game energetically to raise that vibration? What are we doing? That's right. If somebody out there said, yeah, we're diminishing the blame. Absolutely. That's exactly what you're doing. You're thwarting that energetic being. So if you truly are for your team, you got to get rid of your negative Nancy. I'm going to say it again. If you're truly for your team, get rid of your negative Nancy. I am at fault of this. I just want to go eek, yuck, puke. And then everyone's like, yeah, fire the coach. Why? Then of course, my comment was I was never for him anyway. I'm part of the problem, right? You poor guys. My emotions warranted in your will of either a complete or non-complete pass, or maybe a fumble, maybe a block playing hockey, maybe somebody got cross-checked, maybe good blocking. Anything can happen. Good throw, good pitch, right? Nice hit in the bat into the swing. We have to turn that particular energy around. And if we have group energy, that group energy is always supposed to be that raising of vibration. It's like a mass meditation in motion powered by the emotion. So meditation motion powered by the emotion is really what we're doing to help sponsor the spirit of our teams and the spirit of sports. Identification and reflection. There you go. Fans often see themselves as them being in those teams or those athletes themselves. Most of us who love football has had either played flag football, powder football, midget league football, high school football, whether you cheered for it or whether you played the band for it. You started to become this overwhelming. Maybe your parents were huge sports fanatics and you just got in, no matter what the sport is: tennis, baseball, equestrian, bull riding, whichever it may have been. If you saw the commercial for this show, I tried to put in as many different sports as I could, I didn't even put, what's the newest thing? It's not tennis. It's not racquetball, whatever. It's a new thing and everybody laughs about. And it's like, it's really not funny. It's a sport and it's a serious sport. I can't remember what it is. Oh, come on. Everybody, pickleball. There it is. Pickleball. It's now become a serious sport like tennis. It has a US Open and everything, but yet it's a sport. And you have people rallying around that sport. So it's really beautiful. And that's how you have the collective spirit and unity. When a crowd cheers in unison, no matter what the sport, thousands of hearts you can start beating in that rhythm, right? Because when we're in the stadiums, right, you hear da 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 da, or whatever your theme is, and everyone's like, go team go, or fight team fight, or whatever, right? I say blue, you say white, whatever it is. Sometimes it's black and yellow, red and blue, whatever your color coding is. That is crowd cheers supporting your team. Yes, there are some football leagues that have massive, massive crowds. Penn State is one of them. And that is the spirit. That is the spirit why people love to go to Penn State games. Not because they're good or bad or whatever. It's because you get in to see the spirit with what everybody remembers, the blue-white bands, the baton twirlers, the flags. These are back to an old memory. Look at our team still doesn't have names in the back. Why? Because Joe Paterno, in a collective, a spirit of unity, said there is not one person who makes the team. We all make the team, so that way nobody has their name on their back. And that has been from Joe Paterno's start, and that 50, 60 years ago. And today they honor it. There's only 2 teams. Can anybody name the 2 high school or the 2 college teams that don't have on their back? Where's Tony? He'll probably know this answer. But Notre Dame and Penn State, they are some of the oldest football leagues out there, and they still do not have the names of the players on the back because they believe in collective spirit of unity as a whole, as a team. So when we crowd, and our crowd is in unison, like you saw in Schoolhouse Rock, and thousands of hearts beat in that rhythm, science shows heart rates can synchronize such a prominent vibration. Think about that. I just think of the whiteouts at Penn State. And if you haven't been there, please experience, even if you don't like Penn State, because the camaraderie and the spirit of the soul of the sport, you can't help but get involved. Even my own husband, who is a huge Hurricane fan because he's from Miami. He grew up right by the University of Miami. He loves the Hurricanes. But yet when he travels and goes to our whiteout games or the games that we do as a family to go to Penn State, he is overwhelmed by the spirit of the sport. And he starts getting into it. Why? Because he's feeling it. He's that spirituality is the oneness in the action of the memory of the action of the emotion. And here it is. And it's like a temporary collective consciousness reminding people of the power of unity that you share together as a whole, no matter what your political race, no matter what your color, no matter what your belief systems, no matter how you were raised. In those 3 hours, and sometimes in tailgating, those 5 hours, everybody believes in the unity of what is about to go down. And it's an amazing feeling. It raises our vibration of the epitome. It is like in spirit. I love tailgating. I love to tailgate and watch the spirit of the sport, right? It is so fun. Sometimes the spirit of the sport and the hockey tailgates, I've noticed, they're kind of a little bit more rambunctious, I'm going to say. They're a little bit more of people just, they're hardcore. They're going to cross-check you. They might steal your hat. I don't know. But they're just a little bit more. And sometimes in the colder states, it's really hard to tailgate for some of these because it's just downright ice and cold for the hockey players. But the football, going back to football, It's fun. It is a fun time. It's like tailgating before a concert, and the energy is there, and the pep rallies and the team spirit of getting everybody coming in. It's an experience that I love, and I'll always go back. And I'm sure those of you who are engaged as sports fans, you understand that logic. And now you're starting to see where that unity of that energy, that heart racing, that heart beating so fast that you are enjoying it. It's like going to the gym. You don't even have to. All you have to do is go to football games or whatever sports game that you want. And that heart is just beating away like, woo, that is so much fun. And you didn't even have to exercise, but you're exhausted afterwards because how much your heart was racing. Yeah. So then we go to transmutation of the emotion. So sports gives fans a safe way to express primal emotions: joy, frustration, hopes. I don't like that word. I know they want to put that in as a transmutation of emotion, but we're going to put hope as into faith. And then we have anger. And then we have to release them through the act of cheering, chanting, or crying, right? You're one of them. How many people win the ring or win the trophy, outstanding team or player, and they just break down and cry? Because there's no other emotion that they can feel. There's such a happiness. There is such a joy that the only other emotion is to release whatever that brought you to that day. It's a release. You finally have accomplished it. So it's a release mechanism. And sometimes that emotion gets to these players and to the fans, and they just, other word for saying, they just sit there and cry. But it's an act of cheering because the emotions that they had to go through to get to that title or to get to that championship or to win the overall. It is just, there's no other emotion left besides gratitude and humility, which then brings us to our knees of enjoyment. Okay. So people wonder, why do people cry? I'm letting you know why, right? So energetically, that is like an emotional purification at the end, turning raw feeling into collective catharsis and renewal. And here it is, right? It's bubbled up. Now, if you lose, it is the resentment is just the opposite, right? You're losing because you lost your way, children. When we lose, it's not anger. It is a lesson. So it's just the opposite. What didn't we prepare for? What did we get caught with our pants down? What plays did that team honor that other team? No matter how you were supposed to win. I hate that, right? But that's your gamblers. They were supposed to. The odds are, okay, you can look at odds. You can look at, but it's free will, man. If you woke up with a headache and you have to play a game and you're the freaking quarterback or the center, you're in some trouble here, right? I mean, everybody has a bad day, but then to go back and ridicule these people, they were, okay, they weren't on their game, well, hope they have a better game next time. Hope. There's that word hope, right? But this is what this is. This is the collective. So I'm going to talk about my dear friend, Penn State. I don't have any Penn State because I wore them on the last several weeks here. My laundry, I need to get my laundry done. So, but my boys, were they already distraught over you have to think of the psyche of these young kids. Their amygdala is not even completely put in here in this frontal lobe. These are kids still. Most of these kids are under 27 years old when the masculine energy of the frontal lobe becomes. So are they getting over their depression? Are they getting yelled at by their fans? Are they getting yelled at by their coaches? Are they getting yelled at because they didn't pass right? They didn't do something right. I know as sports fans, we want to go, well, that's their job. Well, they're not getting paid. They're not professional. And I think the professional get way overpaid, but that's just my opinion. But these college kids, they don't get paid to do it. And then they're in school and they're academics and they're trying to do the collegiate thing, plus play the sport to get where they need in life. It's a challenge. And if any of you played the sports and collegiate football and had to be gone from classes, then catch up in your classes, then catch up in this, and then still have a life. I mean, they're giving away. They're giving a lot. They're giving a lot to our fans. They're giving a lot to the spirit. And we need to honor them, whether we deem that they did a good job or didn't do a good job. Does that make sense? So be careful with our O's and our, the refs and the coach and fire this and fire. I'm guilty of it. I have to be aware that that's what it's doing. Have you ever had a bad play right from the beginning? And then, here you are damning the kids because of a sneak play. But then the psyche of these kids were like, what in the world? And before they knew it, they were already down. And now here's the fans and here's the people watching energetically transmuting that negative emotional energy, damning, so it just goes down in a big spiral. Think about it. Think about what your emotional energy as a collective is doing to those kids playing, or even your professional sports. They have to have the encouragement by you. Okay. So now we go into the last one here for the resonance. It's inspiration and aspiration. When fans witness greatness, then a comeback can happen, a sacrifice, a moment of that grace that you've been looking for. It awakens this divine potential within them. But we have to stay in that positive realm. We have to push that positive energy. We have to push it to be that glorification of them exercising and them doing their training and experiencing and doing the pregame work and doing the play studies. And we have to give them go ahead, just keep moving forward, do what you know how to do. Give that energy to your players, to your team. They need it. They don't need the or the oh my God, fire them, pull them out. And we hear it. You hear the anger, even within our families. You hear, they need to fire that and they need to remove him and he needs to get benched. And what are we doing? Now, if you have that kind of voice and judgment, maybe we should be sidelined. Maybe we should be benched. Think about that. I know some of you people and athletes are like, MJ, who the heck are you? I'm trying. We're going to get to how it really, everything works out. If you haven't seen it already coming, it's coming. So then I can honestly say that going to these events under inspiration and aspiration, the athlete themselves then becomes our spiritual teacher in motion and showing what discipline is, showing what love is, showing what purpose can achieve, showing all of these things. When we raise somebody's energy and they're going behind, try it. Get everybody, it's going to be hard because there's thousands and thousands, but collectively, that's what stadiums do. Stadiums with their music and their mascots and their bands and their cheerleaders, these are all part of getting the spiritual psyche energy vibration to your team. If you've never experienced a whiteout in Penn State, a whiteout, and every broadcaster, whether they're for Penn State or not, will tell you it is deafening. It's almost like bring the earplugs because the whiteouts are deafening and they can't hear the plays. People say, well, that's how they win at home. It's an unfair advantage. No. So get your team get your college or your fans into the game, just like Penn State has done in hundreds of years, decades. I'm just going to say decades. Same thing. So in short, the spirit of sports transfers to fans through emotional energy, symbolic reflection, and vibrational unity, transforming mere spectators such as ourselves into participants in a collective spirit of human excellence and vibration. That's what we're doing. We're creating the energetic flow for them to push them, saying, do it, go, get it done. And we're behind you 100%. We transform our inner child right into these players and we don't even realize it. So then you're like, what is going on? And then how different is sports carrying different spiritual frequencies? Yes. So when we think about all these other sports, we're healing different chakras. Now you're going to have to wait for that one because we got to take a break. And we are going to go back with now with one of my faves because he allows me to play my opening song. This is Papa Crow. His new song is called What About Us? Doesn't quite fit here, but it always fits. If you listen to the words, it fits in every scenario of everyday life and of everyday practice. So I choose to listen to the lyrics, listen to the music, and I get to create my own positive realm out of it. You're listening to mbradio.us, the home of so many beautiful sponsors as Dunkin' Donuts and Jersey Mike's and now Sony. And we are so pleased. So give us one more second and then we'll be right back in about 3 minutes and 41 seconds.
I pledge my allegiance to her, from sea to shining sea. She held her torch to the sky to give the world liberty. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? What about love? In God we trust. These are the things they want us all to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? The people walk through the streets, holding up protest signs. Try not to repeat our history. Maybe no one will have to die. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? And what about hope? Trust God and let go. These are the phrases they want us to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? And right now we need a hero, someone who will stand and fight for us. A leader, someone we all know, to wear the shield of America. Oh, what about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people?
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Okay, so what about us? What about us sports fans, right? How do we mend our broken heart out there? And how do we just keep motivating for us? So see how I'm telling you, anything in the interpretation of how you want to see that music, you put it in there. So I think about what about us? What about us sports fans who lost 2 in a row and want to just cry our eyes out and not talk to anybody? That's it. That is the commonality where you can just take things and you can push them and motivate them. And we just keep going through. So we were talking about right before we left, how different sports carry different spiritual frequencies. And so sports spiritually in a really powerful way. Each sport has its own energetic frequency. And yes, we are now talking about the 7 different chakras, a blend of the physical movement to the mental focus, and then collective emotions that resonate with certain chakras, our energetic centers, and our spiritual archetypes. And everyone's like, MJ, really, you're going to ruin my sport? No, this is so open up our eyes. This is like, wow. Because even myself, I'm like, man, I am this high spiritual vibration energist, and I do these things, and I catch people and help them twist things. But man, when I get into my sports arena, my gladiator mode, man, I have every emotion from anger, discernment, and frustration, and happy, and joy, and celebratory, and enlightenment. I get from the highest of vibration to the lowest vibration. So of course, if it's in my realm and I need to heal it, you all going to listen to it, because this is how we all heal. We all heal when we realize, wait, this ain't right, MJ. What's going on here? And then we transmute that energy into the highest positive consciousness that we learn from. What are we really doing? So this is why we started. So sports fans, I'm going to break it down for you, what your chakras that you need to heal, which is why you watch those games, because you have more life lessons to heal, and they're very deep, which is one of the reasons that's plausible that you watch certain sports. For instance, people who love soccer, football, like football, right? Football. This is how it started. And the Americans, they pronounce it soccer. When you watch soccer, you are actually utilizing your root and your heart chakra centers. The root is your grounding, your tribal, connecting to earth and team. Tribal. I said it. Soccer is played with your feet on the ground. It's a very good symbol of grounding and collective rhythms. So your heart is unity. Your heart is compassion. It's joy. The flow of passing. It's like a mirror. It's a passing of mirror of love and connection. And it is, the victory is felt as a we, not an I sport, which is within, right? Our heart is within, we. So community, belonging, and shared heartbeat, the beautiful game, then that radiates that collective love energy. That's soccer. So let's go to basketball for all you basketball fans, okay? So basketball, now there's a little bit different. Basketball is about our solar, right? Our breadbasket here, and our BB Boppy crown. It's our crown energy. So our solar plexus for basketball is power, it's confidence, and it's individuality. Each player shines as a unique force for that team. There's only 5. So everyone has a unique perspective of that sport. So that's our solar plexus within. This is what my job is. This is where I am connecting, whether I'm a guard, a forward, a point, right? So this is then in the solar plexus. Why am I having to do this? Guarding. Why am I having to, be the point? Why do I have, so that, think about it. If you're the player, think about where this is hitting us. And then the crown is our top needle bobbin. That is our flow state, right? That is keeping us in that flow, that rhythm, that creative divine timing. It's the game's rhythm can be felt almost as it's magical, like it's just sources. If you find some of these basketball players, they'll tell you, I don't know, I just flow, and when I leap, it feels like somebody is taking me 10 feet higher. Some of these interviews are amazing to listen to, the heart and the soul of these players. You never even thought about it. You're like, what? You're crazy. No, they feel that. Why? Because basketball is our solar plexus and our crown. It's that bebop and bubble up there, right? It is, I got free will. I can do whatever I want to do. Live how you want to live, my friend. Both hands holding your ding-a-ling. That's right. That's that song. Freedom And you do what you want to do. And that is how basketball sources from that crown, because each one of those 5 players has their most individual attitude. So that is in divine, it is self-expression for them. It is rhythmic. It is the ascension. And basketball players is like a chance of power and grace all built into one, blending ego mastery with intuitive connection of the game and the sport. And of course, Almighty Father, Mother, God. It's using that right there. I love it. Football, since we're in football season. Football, American football, not football, but American football. It is our root and our solar. Isn't that funny? So when we talked about soccer, it was root and heart, but football is not heart. It's root and solar. So our root is our strength, our safety, our primal force. It's tribal, rooting into earth. It channels survival and that tribal defensive energy, right? Bring on the engines. Where's those Washington Redskins, right? Are those Atlanta Braves? But we're in football. So back to football. And then we have our solar plexus. So now our solar plexus, that is the leadership, the take control. It is the strategy. It is the domination. Each play reflects a different focus, willpower, and teamwork hierarchy. Like a hierarchy, right? So it's here to here to here to here to here, because you have what? 12 players, I think, on the field, right? So you have all of these players and they are divisional. When you get in a huddle, you only have one. We're listening to this. Mostly it's your quarterback getting called in from, the tower, or the coach is calling in. So discipline, courage, discipline, courage, discipline, courage, discipline, courage. Or am I on repeat, or am I on military broadcast? Military is discipline. Military is courage. What are the 3 things? Courage, pride, and anger. Football, discipline, courage, protection. Football embodies the warrior archetype defined in intellect. Queen of useless knowledge. The higher majority crowd is masculine to watch football. Out of the higher majority masculine of football, the highest majority is military watching football. Did you know that? Queen of useless facts. Why? Because football ascertains courage, pride, and anger. The strength is that anger frequency. It is that determination. It is that will force. It's funny because a lot of people on MB radio love football. I mean, to the hilt of it. I can't tell you how many sports stations are on military broadcast radio. So it just shows you, where's that energetics of the military? We already did that one. What is the energy of a veteran or a military person? Why do they have that? It's because of that age bracket, that amygdala from that age bracket between 18 and 25. It's that same bracket, right? That they are superheroes. They are super deities, and they have to have that courage. They don't understand death to the epitome of infancy. Like, it's done. We're done in the physical. And so they have that courage. They have that pride. They have that, that will, that stamina. And that embodies that archetype of being that warrior. And that's why a lot of people love football who are also military or masculine ridden, because they hold those first and foremost. They're survivals. So then we go to tennis. Tennis is more sacral and third eye chakra. Sacral because it's the passion, it's the rhythm, it's creativity. It is the one-on-one duality. Your sacral is only you. It is the blessing of the womb. It's the birthing of you. So of course, tennis being a solo sport, well, I understand you can have doubles, but in reality, even doubles is solo because you're boxed in within your lines, right? You do this and you do this, and you guys are actually creating your own individuality. It's that one-on-one duality that carries the sensational grace and the emotional honesty with it. And then you go straight to the third eye right here where that beautiful New Jersey Devil logo is. That's your third eye. So that third eye, that is the intuitiveness. That is the foresight. That is the mental clarity of tennis players. Reading an opponent's next move is energetic, intuitive action. Yes, it's by playbook as well. It is also watching how they handle themselves on the court. They have a pattern. It's by patterns. These players hits to the right. This is what they do. They transfer then. And these are all things that we all notice on an individual basis. Now that person, that tennis player really has to understand that. Why? Because the emotional intelligence and the presence, the sacred dance between that control and flow. That makes sense? So even though they're watching these players and how their movements are and what they always, their go-to point is, maybe it be the back right corner, maybe it be the top lob or right over the fence and you're all the way in the back, they will constantly do those moves. They are strategic moves, just like the coach calling in plays. So these tennis players have to use their sacral because their sacral is a one-on-one carrier. There's no other teammate that they can count on. And then they have to use their third eye. They have to be very intuitive and connecting the energy to that player. So that's tennis using those. Then we go to what a lot of college kids do today. They like volleyball. So volleyball is heart and throat. So it's right here. The heart, it's team harmony, it's trust, it's joy, it's uplifting in others. And every set of a volleyball is a cyst of an act of shared love. So volleyball is a collective, very, very close on that court. And it is shared of love by the players. In the throat, it's communicating of that love to the players. Timing, teamwork, right? If somebody sets up for I don't know the nomenclature very well, but let's just say they're setting up for a spike, right? So one of the teammates prepares it for him, and the next teammate comes in and spikes it down. So then you have the connection through trust and voice, and volleyball is teamwork. It is setting those types of plays up, hitting from the back, getting it forward so that the people in the front can slam and dunk it over the net. And this is as a sympathy of a symphony, like not sympathy, but a symphony, like an orchestra, right? They organize themselves. Let's just say it's reeds to brass, then to drums, right? The percussion, and slam it. And so this is all the teamwork. It's the unspoken coordination that actually relies on that clear energy that gives us that exchange. That's volleyball. So let's go to track and field. That is root, sacral, and solar. Man, track and field, how much is those root? It's the endurance and connection of the earth because they're running or they're doing something on earth. So they have that full root going in. They have the sacral. Why? Because it's an individual. Track truly, unless you have the, passing of the baton on the relay races, it's an individual sport. So it's your ability against the world. And that is a titan. You are a titan and you're a beast. Because now you have your sacral. It's that passion and the body freedom in motion. You push your limits. You push them and you push them. Solar plexus. Sometimes athletes, I can tell you in hockey, when I wanted to get my fierce agitator on, when I played hockey myself, I had to bring in that tribal. I had to bring in that fierce component gladiator and knowing that I'm just going to run everybody down to make my goal. I had to bring that into my existence, right? And that is the solar plexus, the personal will and self-mastery. And then it determinations of that personal evolution that you've had as an individual race towards a higher potential. Maybe it's plausible I was a gladiator. Maybe it's possible I was a jouster. Maybe it's plausible that I was part of that era in the past that brought that tribal instinct of one-on-one and the higher and the strength and the mobility and the body's freedom is my freedom. You're not allowed to hurt me, kill me. So that put into that track and field in the ground and that force of domination. And it can work for any, but here we're talking about track and field. So we go to swimming, swimming now becomes sacral and crown. And you're like, wait, a root, but that's not really the root. It's the sacral. Why? Because it's the element of water. So sacred, your sacral chakra is of water. So it is that element of water that we need. And then the emotion is fluidity because you're in water. So it's the motion of water that we're trying to balance. Then you have your crown, which is the transcendence, right? It is a transcendence, right? So that many swimmers describe the feeling of weightlessness almost meditative. They get into that rhythm. Think about they have to get into a rhythm. If they don't get into a rhythm, they fall back. So swimmers, they have to have that constant weightless rhythm, and that rhythm comes from our crown. It comes from that high spirit to feel weightlessness, to feel that somebody is meditatively carrying you. So cleansing, rebirthing, and surrendering are all your water sports, water polo, even kayaking. All these water sports embody spiritual purification and renewal every single time. It is the will to be done that I will rebirth every time and go forward and make that step going forward and so much more. Then you look at martial arts. Let's look at those. So martial arts, it is the root, the solar plex, and the crown. So now martial arts is 3. And so when you start breaking it down, you're like, well, the root, yeah, that's stability. Martial arts have to have grounding. They must be stable. And then in their solar plexus, that's their personal power under discipline. So they're finding something that they have to release in order to dominate on the other person. I didn't say anger or resentment. However, sometimes it is plausible that martial arts will come into as if they're being attacked, and their fierce warrior or their tribal warrior has to come out. And that is that solar plex area, that learned lesson in our breadbasket that has to come out. And then you look at the crown, higher wisdom, the balance between fight and stillness. And in the spirit of mastery of self through that control of force, then you have that peaceful warrior path. But they have to get there, right? They have to exert the energy and to saying, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to put you in a way where you understand that I win. Right? That's kind of how I perceive it. It may not be so, but that's how I perceive that. So in martial arts, just know whatever's going on in your root, your solar plex, or your crown, these are all trying to help you stabilize those patterns, and you can do it as well when you do the meditation on it. And then we go to equestrian sports. How many people who like barrel racing or PBR or bull riding, cow roping, dressage, jumping, high jumps, you like equestrians, anything equestrian sports, that is your heart and your third eye. So your heart and your third eye, why? The heart, it is the love and harmony between human and animal life. It is Mother Earth. Again, you are into the Mother Earth realm, and you are balancing that human and animal bridge together by unifying the highest energetic force of people, of your fans, and of that raising you to be the best that you can be. And in your third eye, it's a telepathic connection. It is that rider and horse move as one consciousness. So your spiritual partnership is beyond words here in equestrian. It is a sacred unity that is between instinct and your soul. And that instinct and soul for millennia, from the age of time, human used animal, whether it was to source for food, a source of travel, a source of mechanical power for them to move whatever. What I'm saying is equestrian and humans is very old. It goes back so far that unity to connect the two instincts and soul is definitely through the third eye force. And that's where that comes from. So each sport, as you can see, has its own spiritual ritual. And it's a sacred choreographed where human energy then meets that universal flow. So it's like taking the physical and you're bringing it right back into your soul. And where do your soul, in all of these different lessons coming forth, now you're here. And now it is in these sports, technically like a survival mode. Are you going to excel this time? Are you going to learn from your past? How is your survival instinct? And that's the spirit of that sport. That survival instinct pushing from however millennials behind in that player, right? To say, hey, fans, this is me again. Don't be surprised as you as fans were backing that beautiful sport from millennials ago either. It works both ways. So we're going to take another break. And then when we come back, we're going to figure out how these sport energies now that we know different ones and where we're going with this, shift depending on the moon and the planets above us. It all works together. I'm just saying. So sometimes players can't play when there's full moon. Sometimes it's just like the OR. We are the emergency rooms. We're great until that dang full moon. What happened? What happened to this ER? What happened to out there? So it all plays. It all unifies and it all plays together. So we're going to have to take this other little break here. You're listening to mbradio.us, and I am MJ. My show here on this channel is called The World of Conscious Positivity, where we give you a different perspective of the awareness of life in itself, of old belief patterns that no longer that can exist, but don't have a place, which is why it gets us in trouble. So we have to flip those patterns, and this is what this show is about. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to go here with Die Tired, and it is Why Won't You Wake Up? Wake up and see these energy patterns. Anyway, we're listening to Die Tired. Here we go, fans.
Take a moment, take your time, let it set right. Let it drive right down in your conscious tide. Lean into the better times. 'Cause in a minute, in a moment, you'll notice a shining light, one that draws you in from deep inside. Reach out and connect tonight. That lead us to and through, elevate to new. 'Cause there's a second, there's a session, there's a something that holds them tight. Let you see this world through brand new eyes. Reach out and connect tonight. You know my name. What colors do you see?
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
By find us on the web at mbradio.net.
See that? Exactly. Why won't you wake up? Come on, you players. Wake up. We're here with you consciously, and we're here giving you our energy. So somebody, on my, I guess it was TikTok. Yeah. They go, hey, you didn't do what's the number? So today's episode is 58. Let me go back to that since I was called out. I didn't do it. And I didn't mean not to do it. So anyway, our number today, episode 58, the resulting total number is a 4. I love 4s. When you see the number 4, the angels are confirming that they are near you and want you to know that they are ready to assist you to make your dreams come true. Know that your angels always hear your thoughts and prayers. They are surrounding you with love every day. Today's power word, angel power word of the day, business expansion. Hey, MBR, where are you? Are you listening? Business expansion. We just picked up Sony, and look at that, business expansion. What a powerful start of this beautiful week. The number 58 in itself is the angels applaud your business flair. Your hard work and dedication are about to be rewarded. They will send you the perfect people to assist you to grow your business, plus extra funds for cash flow. If you don't have a business, know that angels are applauding your work of your ethics and encourage you to be businesslike in your financial affairs. But keep up the great work. And that is what episode 58 is. Thank you for calling me out. I didn't do it. So now let's get back into the spirit in sports. So right before we left, we said, now that we're going to blend all the spiritual energy with the planets, our lunar planetary cycles, to see how the cosmic forces subtly amplify or temper with emotions our spiritual vindictions or vibrations and competitiveness. And that is both for players and fans. We are affected by the moon. Go back and listen to my other episode, Why Moon Why, right? Because we have to experience life through all different vibrations and all different levels. Where are we healed? Where are we not healed? Where are we sourcing? Why do we have this energy on some things? So between sports and the moon, especially the full supermoons, we could be collectively unifiable or collectively disturbed, right? It's one or the other. So when we have full moons, it's an emotional peak. It's collective unity. In sports teams like soccer, baseball, football, emotions and crowds, energy surges the most. Games feel more electric. Their rivalries and passions intensify during super moons or super full moons or just full moons. However you want to see it, massive. So your athletic directors of your schools or whoever puts these schedules together, you look for those big full moons and source that energy because it is more electric. There is so much energy surging. Games feel just more electric, and that rival is atrocious. The heart and the solar plex chakras are fully lit up during those times, and they are uniting players and fans and sharing that excitement. That is so awesome that heart is and those solar plexus are beating so wide open. As far as individual sports such as tennis, track, martial arts, the full moon magnifies that confidence level and instinct of survival. Emotions run very, very high. Some perform at genius levels and others get very overwhelmed. So choose the individual by that cycle, because if that magnifies that confident and instinct, those emotions, if they're not healed, could be the detriment to that player. Just saying. So besides power, balance power with grace, that full moon invites you to express that passion, express that without ego overflowing. And that's what's good, because you're sourcing that internal energy without the mind of the ego, because that full moon is helping you. So then we go to the new moon, and that is more grounding and intention. So these are the beginnings. These are the focus. These are the quiet potentials, right? So your team sports, your coaches and teams set these new goals. during some of these new moons. And then you have your training and your tactics to feel more strategic, right? How did we fail? Okay, let's not call it a fail. Let's just say unprepared. And we're going to flip those words. And now we get to have this new moon energy, which is removing, just manifesting what we didn't know before, right? And now we're manifesting into this new energy, this inward planning and not performing. So that energy is now moving inward, going, okay, this is, and I can see this. It's kind of like if you've ever watched actors, actresses, or people get on stage, right? Dancers, they'll sit there and with their eyes closed, and they're envisioning these movements. They're envisioning when to leap in the counts. They're meditating on it. That's great for the new moon, that type of thing. So as far as individual sports work, then they're perfect for that visualization, that breath work, and that realignment of purpose within. The spiritual lesson here for this new moon is then you build that foundation and that clarity. And then the new moon calls athletes to recalibrate the intentions before they act. Right? So that's like that manifestation period. So when we are in the new moon, it is the manifestation of closing your eyes, meditative. That's why the individual sports close their eyes before, the dancings and all that. They meditate that. They meditate those energies. So they're practicing right foot, left foot. Or you'll see the American Ninja Warriors. There's another individual, right? Those athletes, right? You'll see them going, I need my right, left. No, I need left, right, left. And then they're practicing in their mind those mechanics. That's what that new moon does for them. It renews, it rebirths, it gives them a new ideology, a new plan, and then they're set forth to then, before they can act, they get this within their mind. That's a beautiful thing about the new moon energy. First quarter, we're going to break it down a little bit more, but we're going to rush through them because the new moon and full moon are really where it's at. But now we can go to the first quarter moon. And when you're looking at the energy of that first quarter is action, growth, and resistance, right? For team sports, it's very competitive, fire risers. These are their matches. They feel like proving their grounds, showing them who's boss, testing willpower against teamwork. And that's that first quarter. That's that igniting of that flame. And then you go to the individual sports, and then you have athletes that may face internal struggles or break through these moments. And these are breakthroughs. They have these moments within that they finally can break through. It's kind of like a songwriter writing a song, and they keep crying over the lyrics of the song until they heal. I'm good at that. I'm very good at that. I use music to heal all the time. I find that music attracts to me, and one of the ways where I feel it so internal that I'll drive people crazy, because I'll just sing and sing and sing and sing and sing and sing and sing until I stop crying, or until I start smiling when I sing it, and start then bellowing it so that the whole mountainside hears me bellow the words of purification, joy, and honoring of who I want that next level to be. So that spiritual lesson of that first quarter is keep moving forward, even though there is friction, there's progress is being targeted through that tension. So that's a good way. Then you have the waxing gibbous, which is refinement and focus. That energy building momentum. It's perfecting the skills and preparation for visibility. As team sports and a waxing gibbous moon, then these are peak training periods. Unity and strategy strengthens in these waxing gibbons. For individual sports, these are heightened focus and drive to a more fine-tuned performance. So sharpen your craft. The world will soon witness your efforts. That's the waxing gibbons. And then we go to the waning. So now we have, So now we have the waning gibbous. It is gratitude and reflection. So in sports, when we have a waning gibbous moon, now this is completion, sharing, and wisdom. So in team sports during a waning gibbous, then we celebrate wins and reflect on those losses with more maturity, with more healing, with more confidence and understanding. And it's a great time for team bonding and humility. With grace and humility, we win, right? So in individual sports, then we have to look at teach others? How are we teaching others? How are we mentoring or reflecting on our lessons learned? So the lesson spiritually is release tension and give thanks. When we release the tension that burdens the will, then we give thanks. We honor the energy that is supported you through all those peak times of devastation, disaster, loss, resentments, others' wills. This waning gibbous helps us. Now we go into the waning crescent, and that is a whole reset and renewal process for us. So our energy, it's a closer, it's a reset, it's a spiritual cleansing on the waning crescents. So their team sports, they are perfect for recovery, physical therapy, and the emotional reset. But then we go to the individual sports, right? There's that bubble, right? So we go to the individual sports, and they're focused on the visualization and the meditation. Less doing, more being. So individual sports during the waning crescents, we're just not going to do stuff like this, or we're not going to speak stuff like this. We're just now, it's going to be more of what is in, what we're going to do. So it recharges our spirit surrender, and it prepares the soul for that fresh new cycle coming in with what we have learned, or what we became aware of, or how we actually are visualizing and moving forward. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to go through, these because I listed them just in case we had time, and I see we have a little bit of time left. So planetary influences. So if you are interested, here we go. How does each planet stir different athletic and fan energies? Well, if we're in the planetary influence of Mars, so these are all planetary influence. So I'm just going to go down to Mars. It's competition, drive, speed, peak performance. Tempers may fly during Mars. Mars is fire, right? So if you have Mars that's fire and you get somebody who's fire like Aries, look out. Look out. It is tempers to flare. Then we have Venus. It's team harmony in Venus. It's all about the flow. It's about grace and enjoyment of the game. You stay in that form of love. So anytime the moon is influenced by Venus, you know, the love of the sport, the love of the fans. And generally it's going to be more of just, you know, may the better team win and everybody's happy. Then we go to Mercury. It's strategy, right? It's quick decisions, mental agilities. And when you get into Mercury, it could be a world of headaches because you're in your head during Mercury. So then we go to Jupiter. It's expansion, the major wins, fame, and the records broken. So that's the determination, right? That's that will of determination on these teams when the planets are in there. It is in the Jupiter mind frame because they don't believe anybody could beat them in that energy. They are a superior. So it's always, I'm going to say it's really plausible. Like if you go back and you look at when Jupiter influenced the moon on those games, that they had a bigger, they just played great. Both teams gave 100% of their potential power. And then at that point of giving that highest potential power, then you know that those expansive drives. And so sometimes it's really good to throw that Jupiter moon inside of there, right? Because it's just an awesome to watch. And then of course we go to Saturn. Saturn with all those beautiful rings. They're like, look at Saturn more like bondage. I'm going to tie you up, baby. I'm going to tie you and hold you. I shouldn't say bondage. Bondage sometimes can lead to negative. I'm not talking about negativities here. I'm talking about nothing but positive. So Saturns are those arms, right? They're disciplined. They're lessons through endurance and setbacks, but they still have the arms that wrap around you as a team or an individual or a fan to say, I got your back, Jack. I'm right here. It's about discipline. Let's learn it. So then we go to Uranus, right? Uranus. Yes. Like anus, everybody has one. And it is about, anybody guess? Upsets, unconventional play styles, and surprises. Well, that might just fit the pattern of old Penn State this past weekend, Uranus, right? Surprises, upsets, unconventional play styles that shock and shake the universe. And there it is. And then we go to our Neptune. And our Neptune is all about intuitive plays, emotional connections, and spiritual flow. And then we get to Pluto, and our Pluto is our power. It's our power struggles, right? Our transformation, our comebacks from the darkness. It is the power planet of transmutation and transferring into what is most amazing about sports and about its players and just about everything, in our world. And it just is a power struggle. And we have to figure out how to calm our egos and our judgments in order to transform all of that energy for comebacks and comeback wins. And how many teams have you seen when the fans energetically get involved and they energetically explode? And here we are. And it's like, well, what are we doing? We are getting a comeback here, and we're coming out of the dark into the light. And that's why I love Pluto. Pluto is another one of my fun planets, just like the dog Pluto at Walt Disney. I love him. So in essence, when athletes play or fans watch, they're not just moving and cheering. There's really an awareness that I want you all to look at, and it's fun. Don't look at it as a life learning lesson. Sometimes when you use fun to learn, and you can use cheerful enjoyment to learn, because you're opening up the third eye and you're opening up your crown for the awareness of why. And that's what I love. And when that happens and the athletes play and those fans watch, they're not just moving, they're participating in an energetic ritual influenced by lunar tides and planetary rhythms. I told you, everything controlled by our moons. Why moon? Why? Our emotions, our life, everything, even these games. So I always tell you, every show, don't just go to a psychologist or a mental health practitioner. You make sure that mental health practitioner evolves everything energetically of the physical and the metaphysical. If they are not, then find two different ones or find somebody who has the ability to do that, because you're going to find out more awareness of the life that you live because of it. And that is truly that energetic ritual influenced by the moons and the tides. So each whistle, each pass, or each, heartbeat becomes part of that cosmic, choreographic, mirrored humanity spiritual evolution. And that's what happens. We as a flow, it is a flow. It's a movement. And those movements bring us that joy, bring us that cheering, bring us that heart-filled rhythm that we love, right? So I understand that you can't be one person who can controls all the anger and the resentments of a referee's call and everybody in a bar. But you can just block it and say, I'm not doing that today. I'm not going to call for the coach's resignation. I'm not going to call for a player to be benched. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to give them the source that they learned, give them the source that practice. And if they did not learn it, then this is their life lesson, and divine is beautifully playing out. And that's how we have to see it, because the cosmic choreography that mirrors humanity's spiritual evolution is beautiful when you become aware. So in that aspect, I want to take a quick break, and then I want to show you why sports has a profound healing of trauma, because sports can lead us back into a trauma mode, especially our beautiful military vets. It can bring back into trauma. You see people in the stands fighting. You see the people in the stands arguing with other people, getting nasty. Now we're going to discuss that. We discussed all the beautiful positives. We have to show how it also transfers and how we have to flip that. So I got to take another really quick break though, folks. And I said, then we're going to come back and we're going to finish up with, is it trauma or is it a life lesson that we're learning if it affects us? So what we're going to do is we're going to play Die Tired Play. And that is the official music video as well. So you'll be able to see it. You're listening to Military Broadcast Radio here, where the veterans always get to have a voice. And my name is MJ. This show is called The World of Conscious Positive Thinking. And we're going to play Die Tired Play.
We can fly across the ocean with our arms spread open wide. Follow me as far as you can, baby. You and me got nothing left to hide. And all our friends will be there with us. We've got
At Military Broadcast Radio, the goal is to offer a platform for mental health advocacy while connecting the military community through various media platforms. Founded by U.S. Army veteran Joel Hunt, MBR gives a voice to veterans, first responders, and their families through streaming radio, podcasts, video, and outreach events. With its leadership run completely by veterans and hosts of the diverse programming from all branches of service, MBR was created as a response to the silent battles veterans face after service. Military Broadcast Radio is also a Wreaths Across America partner, hosting a $5 backed sponsorship group page. For every veterans wreath sponsored through the Military Broadcast Radio page, MBR receives $5 back to help support their platforms and outreach. Veteran and first responder stories need to be told and shared. And with your support, MBR can continue to bring together veteran nonprofits, mental health organizations, and government agencies to bridge the gap between veterans and vital resources. To find out more and donate, visit wreathsacrossamerica.org/MBR.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Oh, we're back. Wreaths Across America. Folks, please help us flourish with wreaths in Arlington Cemetery for all of those who gave their life for us, for our freedom, and for our protection. And I just can't say enough about our military warriors who gave all. And those wreaths at Christmas is a beautiful awareness. Not only that, if you've never seen Arlington Cemetery with all those wreaths on it, please go. Please go look at it. Please take your picture and purchase in your honor for one of your veterans who may be in Arlington, and buy that wreath for them and label it for them and make sure that wreath gets to them. So, okay. This is what I call the negative part of my show, because I'm a huge sports fan, but it does cause trauma. It does cause sadness. It does cause depression. It causes anxiousness. Again, especially in those who wager and spend a lot of money on these games. It is so unpredictable. You can do all of the numbers. You really can. You can always do the numbers game and find out where the odds lie. The problem is where the odds lie doesn't mean that your players are feeling up to the challenge that day, right? It could cause some serious trauma and PTSD, especially when you are energetically tied. And this then becomes the trauma, because for many fans and teams, loss doesn't just sting emotionally. It actually activates really deep energetic and psychological wounds that we are unbelievably not prepared, because we are not aware how that's going to affect us. Hence, when the beginning of this show, I said, isn't it funny, the queen of useless knowledge? When you start looking at these percentages, I don't have them because it was just like a kind of thing. And they just said the majority of people watching are males, but the majority of those males are military or veterans. So let's get into it. Energetically identifying as me versus I. And that's the biggest thing, because fans often merge themselves with identity into being the team, the we won, we lost, right? How many times in conversations as a sports fan go, no, we won. We meaning we did something with those players in order to win, but we didn't. Unless we used our energetics that we just learned about to push that vibration up. But the further that we get down, then it is the we. Because if you are damning the players and you're damning the coaches and you're damning these people, then at that point, it is we lost, because our collective energies pushed it. So energetically, this creates like a soul attachment cord between the fan and the collective energies of the team or the individual person playing. When the team loses, that shared energy collapses, and the fan's root and solar plex chakras momentarily destabilize. So now you're not grounded, and now you have all emotions going on in those solar plexus. And it's very hard for fans and players to disattach from them. It feels like rejection, humiliation, or just personal failure. this is what happens to your root and your solar plexus. So the fan's ego mind confuses emotional connection and ownership. Energetically, a sudden void just forms where pride and belonging once vibrated. Does that make sense? So then we go to our stored emotions and wounds that get reactivated. Here's our PTSD. Here's our trauma patterns for anybody. Here is the unhealedness in people, right? That team loss is subconsciously, right? The unconscious trigger. Whoop, there goes my spectacles. Let me just put them back because I can't read far away. So got to have those to see the game. So now we have that pattern, the powerlessness, the betrayal, and being unseen. And having millions of people watching, these emotions can just conjure like crazy. And we have to be aware of that. As a fan, what are we attaching our emotion to, and where is it within our spiritual being? Where is it? So that energy rises to the surface in the form of anger and aggression. It does. Be there. You see these fights break out. You see these people throw Cokes or sodas or whatever on like a rival fan. It happens a lot in these teams. Why? Because we had that stored emotional wound that was reactivated, and either that play, the rejection of, a non-play, a benching, a failure, something has interacted that deep within us. Almost every episode I put out here, I remind people, when something angers you, it's on you. It's not on the person who's doing it. It may not be right. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I can only account for myself. So if somebody brings something to the table and I get angry, it's a seed within me that has been unhealed. And that is no good. So just like sports, if I'm getting angry at the players who are college kids just doing what they're supposed to be doing, or aren't they? And then there's the question of the ego and the judgment of the human going, what the hell, Aller? What the hell, Singleton? What the hell? Right? And now you're yelling at the TV, or if you're in the stands, you're yelling with them and you're belittling those players. You're belittling them. And guess what? Your anger is not going to turn it around. Maybe the player hearing your boos and your cries of discernment, his ego then is on fire going, screw you. You watch me win this game. That's the warrior. That's that root grounding, unnerved player that no matter that strong energy attacking them, rises from those flames like a phoenix. Rises. Yeah. Because he doesn't have that to learn. He's like, I put my best foot forward. I have a team. I can't be all the players at once. Now, on an individual basis, if they're having a bad day, you can hear them, tennis players or equestrians or jockeys or pickleball players, anything that's individual, and going, had a bad day. What else are they going to say? Newscasters who want to put stuff in their face, what are they going to say? It's like Dancing with the Stars. Okay, I love Dancing with the Stars. I don't know why. Just because to me, it brings a smile. It brings enjoyment watching the music and dancing. And the one who went home should not have went home. Should not have. Listened to me. Who could have, would have, should have. Maybe it was a learning lesson for myself. And with that dancer, right? And of course, how do you feel about this? The announcers. It's so pathetic. How do you feel? And she only had 2 words. I'm pissed. Because she knew she outdanced several of those. However, because of popularity vote of the fans, she didn't get it. That's disturbing. That is very, very disturbing to everybody. So how do we get off that undisturbing? Saying it doesn't matter who wins or loses. It's how that music and those dances made me feel. It's how the game of enjoyment being out made me feel. Don't look at the win or loses. I understand for the sports fan who is indebted in it, especially with money. It's hard to just say that. I get it. Look at me. I have to do the same thing. I have to breathe. I have to tap. because it causes anger and aggression when that happens. And then stadiums amplify it because thousands of people release that same heart vibration, that same passion that you are feeling. And then it amplifies it, right? They always say when you cross somebody's negative energy, that negative energy rubs on you and you keep walking. And then you're like, get that off of me. I don't want it on me. Right? I don't want it on me. So I am not an avid go to the stadiums every single time or the arenas because I can't stay within that rejection or that disappointment. I don't like it. I'd rather watch it on TV and go, okay, I'm not going to feel that way. I'm going to say next play is better. Next play is better. And it's amazing when you see the awareness and then you think about it during it, because collective emotion storm, a wave of any collective emotion storms, ungrounds our root chakra energy seeking a release. So remember that, okay? Now, for those who are very grounded and people are like, we have to. From the beginnings of time, we have tribal instincts. I don't care who you are. And you can tell me, I'm a starseed, or you have tribal instinct. Why? We all have tribes, troops, groups that we surrender within. Families, right? That's a tribe. You might have a travel group that you go to. Well, that travel group's another tribe. You might have a sports group. That's another tribe. You might be involved in the military. That's another tribe. So you see how tribal instincts are very deep within some people, choosing which tribe or troop you decide to go into. People have knitting groups. That's a different type of tribe, right? And then in sports, you have survival coding. So sports tap right into that tribal instinct that is deep within us. That warrior versus rival tribal, it's an archetype. It is embedded even in intramural sports. I can remember being maybe 4th or 5th grade playing basketball, and you would have we were playing each other. So our teams were like, these were the Bears, these were whatever. But I remember just back then and having the parents on one side of, the court and us on the other side of the court. Or you have different bleachers in middle school and high school. And then you get into, I went in the military. So then you have Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine football games, and you're subdivided again, but you're back into your tribal instincts. Remember that. So your tribal instincts is carrying a higher vibration than a outside collectiveness. If that makes sense to you? So it is that tribal brain. When our tribe loses, that tribal brain, that amygdala inside interprets it as a threat into being and surviving. So that's what you need to clear. If you have a tribal instinct of ahs and oohs and yells and discernments, let's go back and see if we have any threat in the beginning of a survival, right? Because what does that do as far as our tribal instinct? It's fight or flight. So there's your fight, right? There's your PTSD traumas coming in. There's your, punching, your opposition, your opponent fan, where throwing a soda on them, punching them in the head. Well, all these shenanigans that go on because your tribal instincts came in, your survival coding came in. So if that is not healed, it needs to get healed. If you are part and parcel of that, because that's no bueno. The soul is craving that connection. The soul's craving it, yet the ego turns pain into that protection, and then anger then becomes that temporary shield against feeling powerless during those instances. That's really important, because if we can be aware of that, then that will solve a lot of the, I call it the bacchanal, the problems that people face when their ego and judgments want to banter in the stadiums, or banter within the tribe, or banter in a communal of a different tribe. So if you're not tribal, let's just say the New Jersey Devils, you're not part of that, you don't like the New Jersey Devils, then your bannering and your exploitiveness is ha ha ha, ha, you lost, or you're going to get some type of sarcasm clout, which then is triggering a negative emotion instead of being its sportsman-like of consciousness. Now it's triggering. If it's triggering, that's right. Where is that in me and it's triggering. So tribal instinct and survival. And then we go to the unbalanced energy flow when joy and excitement, and it's the upper chakras, right? All this upper chakra from our throat, our third eye. And that is that chakra energy. Why? Because we're full of excitement and then suddenly crash into that disappointment. Oh, right? Your lower chakra then become your solar plexus down to your root, then become the body's trying to ground all and trying to get back into, my God, I'm feeling all this. And now you're shouting. You start shouting, hitting, fighting. It's all misplaced energy. It's all misplaced grounding energy because you were so excited here, you forgot about the lower half. You didn't grind in. Okay, well, a gladiator, it's not just one and done. Nope, they fight to the death. Well, in sports, we're not gladiators per se. We might have that instinct from a soul's connection in a past, but that unbalanced energy flow is fight or flight. From the joy to the letdown, you have to balance it. So then we go into the group field amplification. So every fan contributes to that energetic, that bubble of energetic of that crowd surrounding this beautiful stadium or arena of energy for that sports fan. Home advantage, you know, they always say it's home court advantage or home field advantage. It is that. Why? Because of that energy. There is predominantly more fans at a home, right? At a home game than there is on an away game. So on away games, you kind of feel like, whoa, we're outnumbered here, right? Like soldiers, we're like, whoa, we're outnumbered. So now we have to be Herculean, right? We have to be bigger because we're on an away game and we have to show our strength and we have to show our audacities and we have to show how powerful we are on the away games versus the home games. And then that massive consciousness amplifies whatever emotion that is dominant then, and it's either joy or anger, and then you'll have the dominance and you pray that your team's in the joy, right? You pray they've done their work and you pray that you're backing them, and then we reimpose us to we and we to I, and woo, here we are, we're in that field playing with them, right? And then that is why one angry fan can unite hundreds, and that energy multiplies by resonance. This goes back to Schumann resonance, except this one's called fan energetic resonance. And this is how it works. So the deeper and healing viewpoint now, when we come out of these games, is when fans heal their relationship to identity, belonging, and control, the energies of sports returns to its sacred purpose of joy, unity, inspiration, and a higher vibration. I'm going to read that again. The deeper healing view of sports, when fans heal their relationship to identity, belonging, and control, the energy of sports returns to its sacred purpose of joy, unity, and inspiration. Loss then becomes a spiritual teacher to its fans and to its players. Here's its spiritual teacher. Why are you not enjoy unity and inspiration? You got to play. Why are you not enjoy unity and inspiration? You got to be part of. Why aren't you enjoy unity and inspiration? Because you played a better team, right? So you now are in church. You now became taught by the players, and they became your spiritual teachers. That not a trauma trigger, right? So ask yourself, can I love without owning? Can I cheer without needing to conquer? Can I honor effort even without a victory? Those who answered yes have evolved from that tribal ego and judgment to the collective soul consciousness. Yeah, it's just that way. So how do we do that? How do we turn that aggravation? How do we turn that sadness? How do we turn that? And so how do we help ourselves or a whole crowd? Shift that heavy post-loss charge back toward balance. It's easier said than done, I know, but it's plausible. Now that you become aware, it's plausible because you can think of it as grounding and transmuting sequence rather than a ritual. It works with breath work, awareness, and energy hygiene only. You can do it. So what do? We slow the breath, settling in the body. We inhale twice, hold for 2, exhale for 6. If you are an anxious fan or one who bets, then I tell you slow breath and settle body. You need to practice this or you're going to give yourself a damn heart attack. Okay. Feel your shoulders drop in that belly when you're breathing in. That's how you can do it in the stand. Go fill it all up as much as you can. Hold it and just exhale. And then that ascertains, and believe it or not, that energy of going back to center goes to your players. It helps your players. Go back to center, man. Stay focused, right? Stay focused. That's the energetic call, not disappointment, ridicule, and discernment. That just doesn't. So you do this 3 to 4 rounds, and it signals that safety of the brain, and it also quiets the fight or flight mode. The same thing as your players. It calms them down. Can you imagine a whole stadium setting to breathe? But they do it. They're like, it's okay. You can see it going around the thing. Maybe they should practice the slow breathing going around the stadium. Breathe in twice. Breathe it out. Maybe plausible. I don't know. Somebody listening up there, they might. Then we have to reconnect to our ground, right? Stand or sit with both feet flat, right? Don't putting them up on the bleachers in front of you because it's more comfortable. Put them on the ground. Imagine your roots just going right into the ground and your feet sinking right into the earth. And then on every exhale, send that frustration, noise, and tension down into those roots to get buried forever and figure out its issues, because you're not dead, you're not hurt, you're not bothered. It's an emotional ego set of mind. And why do it to yourself? It causes physical damage and mental damage to the brain. So on each inhale, you grow that steadily and you calm it down. And then this rebalances your root chakra. And then it helps release crowd energy that you may have absorbed. Man, I hope somebody who is crowd entertainment, maybe I should talk to my nephew. He'll know because he does that for the Devils. I used to. How you get that rel. Like breathe in if they're really bad, because it resets them. So why aren't they doing it? The crowds love those things. They love the cheers, the rahs, the whoos, the sings-alongs, the power plays. They love that camaraderie. So when you're losing, why don't you do that? I don't know. Maybe somebody out there is listening. They can do it. So transmuting the emotion. It's rubbing your hands together. Rub your hands together till they're warm. Going, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We got this. Right? That power, that energy, that friction. You place one hand then over your heart, the other one going, okay, here we go. It's transmuting. We're getting that higher energy and getting into the solar plexus and then getting into the heart, right? Because whichever game you're playing, it could be tennis, it could be soccer, it could be football. However it is, you want to put your hands on those chakras, warm them up, get that energy going, push that energy towards your team. They don't need your anger and frustration. They need your positive transmutation of energetic power through emotion. So get that friction going in your hands, then place it and go back and listen if you want to whichever sport you're in and whichever chakra patterns. It will help. I promise. So stay silent and here you go. Say silently, I acknowledge this feeling and allow it to change its form. I acknowledge this feeling and I allow it to change its form. Push the energy out to your players. Visualize red, orange energy, anger. It's not anger. It's red is love too. Just stop. Okay. And then turning that into golden light and then your power without hostility. Right. So turn that anger redness into a beautiful golden light. And then it transmutes that power into a higher frequency, a higher vibration for them. And then here we are. Lastly, shift the gratitude and respect. Ask yourself of the group, what moment of effort, courage, or teamwork did we just witness? Naming even one good positive thing flips your emotional polarity from loss to appreciation and activates our heart chakra back into the source that we need to neutralize aggression faster than logic can. Collective reset for the teams. That's number 5, where you're guiding your team and your fan circle. Form a brief moment of silence, share clapping rhythms, enjoy the energetic flow, encourage everyone to breathe into the space, especially if you're in a tailgate parties or you're at home parties. And then integration, later shower, hydrate, reset. Don't keep the anger, keep going. Like sincerity, that's all we're talking about is negativity. I know I'm Penn State and blah, blah, blah. So reset it, recharge it, reset that electrical energy charge and saying, it's okay, boys, everybody has a bad day, and keep and just keep moving forward. So resetting after the game, I did a little script. So here you go, people. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and let it flow through your mouth. And then do it again. Breathe in, feel the air, feel your chest. Feel your feet on the ground. Imagine roots growing out from your soles, connecting you deep into the earth. Every breath out sends the noise, the anger, and the frustration down into the soil. The earth knows how to hold it and cleanse it. Now bring one hand into your heart and one into your belly. Feel that warmth. That is the power, your passion, your love for that game and those players. Say quietly to yourself, I release what no longer serves. I honor every effort. I ground my energy in peace. Let a wave of calm roll through you. Picture golden light expanding from your heart, touching your teammates, your fans, even your rivals. It's the same spirit that unites everyone who plays, watches, or dreams. Take one last breath in and exhale for the lessons and the moments and the shared heartbeat of sports. You are now grounded, you are whole, and you are part of the bigger picture. All right. Thank you, sports fans. This is the Spirit in Sports. I am MJ with the World of Conscious Positive Thinking here. This is my section of the channel of mbradio.us. I love you all. I will be back. I'll be here tonight on Beyond the Headlines. So stay tuned for that. Peace out. I'll see you next Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.